So, guys, I want to talk about All Elite Wrestling yesterday, and it was god motherfucking awful. Like, honestly, it's very fucking embarrassing, and it's also very fucking embarrassing because the fucking thing is that I actually fell asleep during the fucking main event. It was sleep inducing, and as some people are saying, you honestly have a go home show with fucking Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy, Mr. Comedy Kicks. That's not a good main event, really. So I really want to go through all the segments. I want to talk about the matches, and I want to even give some constructive criticism, because I know just criticizing the company is not good. It's just good to offer how I would do things better. And it's very evidential to everybody that I really think that Tony Khan needs a story editor. And that is somebody who says, okay, this is what Tony wants. This is who Tony wants to push. This is who Tony thinks is going to make money. So it's their job to say, okay, no, Tony, this person's not going to make money, so we're not going to go in this direction. 5 of your ideas work, and this is how we're going to execute them to make them bigger, better, and stronger. So, the first thing that I will say is that it opens up with a 4 versus 4. It's Team Ospreay versus the Don Callis family. Again, this isn't a match that got me interested because, the thing about it is when you watch AEW on television, you're under a tight crunch, really. So you have all these wrestlers that have these long endurance types of matches. So it's almost like, why would I be interested in seeing them do something anticlimactic, really? So I wasn't really involved in this. And then also the other thing, too, is that the winner of this match is Takeshita. Once again, I'm very happy with that because obviously the way AEW books things, they'll say, okay, we have Ospreay, so we're going to make Ospreay win everything, really. So I'm very happy that Takeshita won. But the other problem is that when you see these guys in high endurance matches, and then you have an 8-way match, this has to go at least an hour or whatever because of everybody involved. So to rush it into the first 15 or 20 minutes seems wrong. But I'm happy with Takeshita winning. That's not something that AEW would do, and they subverted expectations. So I'm happy with that. The next thing that happened was that there was a segment of the of the Hurt Business, and with the Hurt Business, I'm really happy with what they're doing. But I felt very bothered with the segments that they did tonight. Basically, what happened was Swerve attacks Bobby Lashley with a chain, and then Bobby Lashley gets the upper advantage on him. And then in the ring, the Hurt Business, they look foolish intentionally, they're intentionally being blindsided, and then Swerve sneaks up and knocks out all three of them, really. And I understand it's trying to make Swerve look strong and incredible, but you went from the Hurt Business being this really serious faction that looks strong and unbeatable to kind of being boobs for a week. Oh, well, obviously 3 people are getting in the ring and they've been knocked down with a chain, and one of them is going down and 2 other people are standing. That doesn't look good, really. So it's definitely, watching Lashley adapt into the AEW style of, it happens to be, kind of cartoonish. So I wasn't happy with that. The next match was Sheeta versus Statlander. And again, there's nothing appealing about this match. It shouldn't be really happening. I kind of wonder, why are you having the women's TBS title defended at the pay-per-view, but not the women's title? I understand you have Sheeta, you have Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa going to have their celebration, but it's definitely showing, favoritism of the TBS title. Mercedes Moné is not a draw, really. So I kind of think that, like I said, this is a waste of a match. I was also mad because I remember for Collision last week, this was the only match that was announced for a while for the Reading, Pennsylvania show. Sheeta is not a draw, nor is Chris Statlander. But it would be really good for Statlander to beat Mercedes Moné because Mercedes Moné has done nothing with that title. If you want to send people home happy, have Statlander bring it into a new direction. So the other thing that happened tonight was that you had Roderick Strong, and he gave a promo, and he had the Roderick Strong and MJF promo. This was very controversial because MJF revealed that Roderick Strong's mother shot his dad in the face, and I'm not sure if she actually killed herself or what happened afterwards. But the point of it is that MJF makes a joke about saying, you know what, it's going to be me shooting her. It's going to be me, shooting you in the face like like your father did, something like that. I don't exactly remember. I appreciate these emotional touches because they really add, but there's a couple of problems. You got criticized for All Out for being too violent. So, once again, like, you have to think about it. If you have kids watching and it's not the Attitude Era now, okay, mommy and daddy, I want to go to Full Gear. And Roderick Strong talks about MJF talks about, this wrestler who had his mother shoot his father in the face. Do you think a parent's going to want to send their kid there? No, it doesn't really work. But you have to attach like heart-wrenching stuff really to it, or a slow reveal of his past really. But I think like then you respond that with Roderick Strong standing right by the ring, and he's kind of looking down, and he's like in his emotions and stuff like that. I know he's trying to tell a story with this, but this doesn't really work. I think that what I would do is that you would have actually MJF at the arena, and then he just and he talks about that, and then you get reaction, and you have Roderick Strong come down, and then you see him kind of have an emotional breakdown, he's kind of grieving, then he gets really angry, and then he goes into that, and then he gets beaten by MJF, and then Adam Cole kind of sees like what's going on really, which is MJF's trying to communicate to everybody that, oh well, you're doing all this revenge for Adam Cole, but you're putting yourself at risk really. I think that would be the way to do it. But like I've said, if you're going to go there with emotional stories, I think that the execution was not that good really. And as I said, that MJF really, he needs to be recruited to AEW, and that just means that he cannot be doing backstage promos. He needs to be at the shows. He needs to get a reaction. He needs to do all these things, really. But the reason why, but as I said, he's not doing it because he cares more about his Hollywood career, and Tony doesn't get that, really. He's one of the people that doesn't give a shit about AEW anymore, and it's very apparent. You had Darby versus Claudio. Definitely one of the worst matches of tonight, because as I like what some people are saying, that it's a stupid match because first of all, I would rather see Darby versus Wheeler. That's what they should have done. Darby versus Wheeler and Claudio versus Orange Cassidy. So because with this, Claudio beats Darby, and it's almost like Darby is being considered for the heavyweight championship. Maybe at World's End he goes after the heavyweight title, so why should he be losing to Claudio? Then the other problem is that you have Claudio, a man that's been the Ring of Honor champion, a man who is known for being one of those big men, so obviously any type of pinfall he gets from Darby Allin hurts him, so it didn't feel like the right match really, so that felt really, really stupid. And then I'm going to jump to the main event, really. Like, obviously, like, Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy are not big stars. If you had Orange Cassidy versus Claudio Castagnoli, that would be a good match, really. Because at least with Orange Cassidy, he's beaten bigger people. He's held the International Championship for, over 365 days. He's done all these, like, things in AEW, really. So it would be more... That would be more believable. That would be more of a threat, really, So... I would actually kind of appreciate that. And then also, too, like, Wheeler versus Darby wins. So it shows that, in December, Darby versus Moxley is probably what they're going to be doing, really. And Darby doesn't have a loss. And then the other thing is that, then you have Claudio lose to Orange Cassidy. And that's not going to look bad because, obviously, Orange Cassidy, as I said, he's had victories before and other things like that. So it's not going to make him look bad. So both his matches should have switch the heel. Then you had Bobby Lashley squash like Cheeseburger and somebody else, really. Like Cheeseburger is a funny name, good name for a wrestler. He made Cheeseburger a smash burger, so that was kind of funny. But, again, I fell asleep during the main event. None of these matches were compelling. You did a backstage segment with AJ Boom or something like that, and again, nothing appealing. Most people don't know who the fuck these people are. They're not Mr. Beast. They're not, like my suggestion, you have the Peter Griffin impersonator versus Jack Perry. People know who Peter Griffin is more than who these two Italian-American fucks, really, because they come on with stereotypical Italian-Americans, Italian-American accent, just loud and like a fat version of AJ and this guy, a fat version of AJ Soprano Jr., and then also the guy, the father, he sounds like Big Pussy Bombensero from The Sopranos. But, overall, it's just not a very good show. All right. I just threw my notepad down, but it's just not a really fucking good show, really. It's just, stupid. A lot of the matches didn't make sense. There was nothing really appealing. I fell asleep during part of the show. You made people like the Lashley, the Hurt Business look stupid. And you also didn't have anything, that's compelling, really. You really have to make these go-home shows very, very strong. And I think that there's two things. There possibly could be an acceptance that the match card isn't that good. Also, you're not having Ricochet versus Takeshita, which you should do, which has been built up really, but you're probably going to say that for a TV show. But I think Ricochet versus Takeshita would have really helped the pay-per-view. But, it's a weak match card. They don't give a fuck. And as I said, Hammerstein Ballroom, they're going to have 2,000 people tops. And, we'll see. That's kind of what they deserve, because they really don't deserve they don't really deserve to sell out big arenas, because they're not putting on a good product. And then the other thing that I'll say is that they've announced shows for later this year, so I'm probably going to go to the Hammerstein Ballroom all 3 nights, because it's cheap. The tickets are cheap. Why not? But I'm also going to probably do one thing as well, which is I'm probably going to I'm thinking about Revolution 2025. This might be the last AEW pay-per-view that I go to. I want to give them a chance, one final chance at AEW Revolution 2025. Do they really progress themselves all the way to that point? And I think that after that, if I don't feel that this is a good company, I'm gonna stop watching, because I have other things to do.